In this episode, we're talking about Apple's much rumored smart speaker, our favorite calculator app, because we're nerds, and we're going to tell you why if you're not using two-factor authentication, you're probably doing something wrong. So here we go. Hello and welcome to episode number 16 of the Foojee Show. I've got Justin here with me today. I am Lucas Acosta. I'm really excited to be back. We've, again, just had to take a little bit of a break, but really excited just to kind of share what's been going on. Busy week this week. Yeah. Two of our team members are in the middle of imaging 2,500 MacBooks for a school here in town.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. If you are not following our socials, you should be. But we were posting some pictures, and if you've never seen a room where the walls are as high as MacBook boxes, the stack of MacBook boxes is as high as the wall.
Yeah.
You should check out
to the ceiling.
Our Twitter @Foojee @whatever social network.
That's right.
So let's just touch on some Apple news real quick.
Yes.
We're about a month out from Apple's WWDC. Who knows what they're going to be announcing? And we don't usually talk about rumors, but I think it's worth noting Apple's rumored smart speaker, right? Kind of their take on the Amazon Alexa, the Google Home. Who knows what they will call it, if it's like a Siri speaker.
Yeah.
And we were kind of going back and forth, like, why would Apple go into this space?
Okay, I'll tell you why I'd buy it.
Okay.
Right off the bat. Number one, if they take a page out of the hi-fi book.
Oh.
Do you remember how great the hi-fi was?
You just hit a soft spot.
Oh,
soft
gosh,
part.
it was so great.
Man.
Just the design, it sounded so good.
Such a good speaker. Yeah.
So if they make a new kind of redesigned speaker, I bet it's going to sound great.
Yeah.
Because Apple cares about good audio. So
that's a good one.
I would maybe buy it just for that. And then secondly, privacy. I think that Amazon and Google, they have their own very specific ways and opinions and business models about privacy. And Apple's would be on the other end of the spectrum.
Right. Like there's been a few accounts, on the headlines of how people have already seen how Google is kind of listening to what you're saying to position ads to you.
Yeah.
I don't remember verbatim, but someone asked about Beauty and the Beast, or maybe like when the original came out, they asked the Google Home something about Beauty and the Beast.
It was to play a song, I think.
Oh, play a song.
Yeah, I think it was to play a song.
I think it gave the answer, and also threw in a little ad about the new Beauty and the Beast coming out
In theaters this day. It was it was an ad.
Just an ad. It's like, I don't want to listen to an ad when I'm talking to my robot.
And I didn't pay for that. I didn't pay for that ad.
Oh, that's true, because you paid for the box.
I paid for the whatever device it was.
The cylinder.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, I agree. I think Apple could do a lot by keeping it private, which
I'm for it.
Hey, we love Google services. We even use G Suite for our back end for email.
Yeah.
But I think there's a right place for each brand and kind of your opinion. So I'm curious to know what Apple's going to do here. How similar it'll be to other products, or if they're going to have kind of a whiz bang feature that kind of beats the other one.
And Siri's still so like, hey, let me show you. Let me show you what you asked for.
It's a visual assistant, right?
It is. And it can do other things, but it's for the most part. But Amazon's Echo and all that good stuff. It's meant to just give you the auditory answers and help you.
Yep, like an auditory interface.
Exactly.
You can't really go look at it.
So
cool. Next, quick just shout out on the Apple news topic is that Apple's VP of Environment, I think, or I might be missing some of that. Her name is Lisa Jackson. She's been with the company for a few years now. She actually made an appearance around Earth Day, to kind of just promote Earth Day. But I think it's a pretty evergreen interview. It's not like you can go back and watch it, or listen to it 6 months from now.
Yeah.
But she made an appearance on a podcast that we happen to both listen to, John Gruber's podcast, The Talk Show. So if you go to your favorite podcast app and just search The Talk Show, look for this special episode that Lisa Jackson was on. It was just a very high and tight, like 60-minute interview where he kind of got to peek behind the scenes of what Apple's doing on environmental initiatives. It's really cool that they have a VP dedicated to just this all across their supply chain, all across their retail stores. You don't really read a lot of news about that, so it was a pretty entertaining interview.
It was much more than just like, how do we recycle? It was much more than that.
Yeah.
A lot of reuse, recycle. I mean, it was amazing. And a little stat I thought that was really cool was 100% of all the data centers, Apple's data centers around the world, use renewable energy.
Yep. 100%.
And think about data centers. I'm thinking in my brain, I'm thinking like stacks of servers and just fans going nonstop. Data centers use a lot of energy.
Yep, and I think the number is 94% of all of the rest of Apple's operations are renewable energy.
Yeah.
So they're striving toward 100, but they've come a long way. And she just gives some cool behind-the-scenes stories and stuff. Good. So anyway, just shout out. It's worth listening to.
Like it.
Next section is just what's a cool app we've been using.
Cool app.
I've been using this calculator app called Soulver for the last few years now. It's spelled Soul, like Soulver. And man, I'm not a math nerd. I was kind of a B student, sometimes C student in math. But the visual design of this calculator is so cool.
Yeah.
And I'll just give you an example. Basically, as you're writing out an equation, like you have to paint a room. You know, I need 2 paint buckets at $15 or $30 each. I need this many paint brushes. As you can write out these equations, basically. You can just view that project that you're working on, multiple lines at one time. Whereas a lot of calculators out there, including the built-in calculator, it only allows for one number at a time.
It's a long line.
Yep, it's just one long line.
Yeah.
And you can also save calculations. So if you're kind of working on a long-term project or pricing out like a new car and you're comparing car payments and stuff like that, you can just save that and refer back to it. So that's have cool. Like a page for this car, a page for that car, or comparing banks or whatever it might be.
And it tells you what each of the variables is, which is like, it's great for me because X times Y, equals whatever. By the time I hit the equals button, I forgot what X actually represented. So
it parses out like natural words and numbers.
That's pretty cool.
I didn't mention that. So paint, you can say paint cans, like 5 paint cans times $15, and you won't confuse it, right? It's just going to use the number 5 times 15. So the app is $3.99. So worth it, and it works on your iPad as well. So you download it once, and it works on both iOS devices. They also have a Mac app, which I absolutely bought. So
wow.
And then all those calculations sync through iCloud. So
as it should.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Awesome.
So that's just a really great app that you should check out. All right, so now we're going to talk about something pretty important.
Yes.
And I hope that you are using 2-factor authentication. This is, yes, we're talking about security for a second. And the reason why we wanted to talk about 2-factor authentication, just define it in a little bit and then why you need it, is because we do get a lot of tickets about people asking us if their account got hacked because they're noticing something suspicious or they know their account got hacked.
Yeah.
And while there's no silver bullet to security in general, there's no like one thing that will protect you or one app that'll protect you.
Yeah, and if you're getting sold that's not true. So,
right. It's security is just multi-layered, right?
Perfect.
But if there is a silver bullet or as close to a silver bullet you can get to protect your online accounts, it's to enable 2-factor authentication. Mm-hmm. Not every company offers it, unfortunately, but a big one like Apple does, Google does. We were kind of thinking about these before the show. Dropbox, and then as you get more businessy, they're starting to become more. That feature is becoming more common.
Yeah.
But two apps or services that still don't offer it are Facebook,
Strange,
and Amazon doesn't offer two-factor. And the reason I think at least Amazon doesn't is because it does make the login process one step slower or more complicated. Yeah. And I think Amazon really wants you to have that impulse buy.
Yeah, and you have to take your pick because it is slightly more. I'm not going to say the word complicated, but it's one or two more steps to log in. And some people say, well, I decided not to use it because it's more steps to log in. But that's the point. That's the point. For the other person who you don't want to log in, they can't.
Right.
So you want to break it down a little bit?
Yeah. So what is two-factor authentication? Basically, what Apple is doing is proving that the person logging into the account is the person who owns the account. And how they do that is you tell Apple, in this case, that you own another device with this serial number. And they basically then know that Justin owns this MacBook and this iPhone, and he can authenticate to prove that he's not logging in from like Russia, right, or some country, that he's not a hacker. So basically what they say, if someone tries to hack into your iCloud account, Apple's going to say, hey, if you really are Justin, show me the number we just texted you. And so you have to prove that you have Justin's phone. Now, if you also have Justin's phone,
But the odds of a person having your password and your device are incredibly low. It's not. That's why there's no silver bullet you're talking about. It's not perfect, but it is incredibly low. The statistics are really low.
And so the reason that people do get hacked is because they don't have two-factor. And you might think like, well, that's why you have a good password. Well, the reason why people are still getting hacked, even if you have a good password, are two main ways. They do what's called social engineering, where they will just call Amazon or they'll call Google on your behalf. They'll pretend they are you, or that they'll spoof, as you, and basically try to finagle their way through, human flaws, or they call it social engineering.
Schmoozing, guilting in, there's lots of ways you can try.
And there's been headlines over the past few years of them being able to do that, hackers being able to do that through Amazon, through Apple even, with iCloud. And of course those companies have patched up those process gaps. But that's one way, called social engineering. The second way are through security questions. So you think that those 3 security questions that you've answered are safe. They're actually not. Most people can find out what street you lived on in the 5th grade and what your first dog was, believe it or not, because that data has probably been hacked and exists in some database. So, not to go down that rabbit hole, but the quick tip for security questions is answer with a fake answer. So if they're asking you what street you lived on in 5th grade.
That's a pro tip right there.
There you go.
Pro tip.
And your answer should not be your actual street name. The answer should be like rainbows. Just something completely...
Unicorns.
Yep. Completely incorrect, but only you know that answer.
And two-factor authentication is not this new... It's not a brand new technology. It's been around a little bit. But because mobile phones, mobile devices are they're so prevalent, they're not just a thing that people can get if they want to. We all know our phones are connected to us sometimes, for good and for bad. But that they can use the mobile phone as the second leg of the two-factor authentication.
Right.
And once I think everyone started using these, it was like, man, this is a great tool to use in two-factor. And so that's why we're seeing more companies adopt this.
Right. Before smartphones were out, you might have seen them in movies, or your friends had them, or your company had them. These like RSA keys that always was showing a different number.
The number would change
to get in,
like every 10 minutes or something.
So now we have mobile phones that kind of makes us not need those tools anymore.
That's right.
So two-factor auth. If you have a question about two-factor authentication, just post it in the comments. Hit us up on the socials.
askFoojee. Hashtag
askFoojee. We'd love to hear from you.
I'd like to say that two-factor authentication is now not just for businesses. It's for personal use. Everyone can adopt this if your specific service offers it. I say go for it. Once you use one, it's the same thing on other services.
Yeah, so go to your Google account, and
Turn it
like
on.
settings, turn it on.
Yeah.
Go to your Apple account. Apple's is at appleid.apple.com.
That's it.
Yep, that's right.
appleid.apple.com. And I would say it gets a little dicey sometimes if you're sharing one account for like 7 of your family members. That does get a little dicey.
And why?
Yeah. Because it sends that specific code,
Yep.
that one-time generated temporary code, to one person.
Only one person. So if it's someone in the family or mom or dad, like you have to go get their number. Hopefully they're not at work to log in. So if you do share one of these accounts, I know with Apple you can have multiple cell phone numbers. In your account, so that if you don't have. If one person isn't there, hopefully the next.
They'll send it to a different one. Yeah.
So do me a huge favor. If you have not subscribed to this video, would love you to subscribe.
Please. Yes.
And if you loved this content, give us a thumbs up.
Right.
It really goes a long way. And if you didn't like this content, give us a thumbs down and tell us why.
Ouch.
I know.
Yeah.
It'll sting, but we're all grown-ups here,
Yeah.
and we want to make this information valuable for you. So please let us know your questions. We'd love to share anything that will help you just get the most out of your Apple products. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you find value in these episodes, be sure to subscribe so you'll get notified every time a new one is